Good day, ma'am. Before we begin, I would like to sincerely thank you for taking time to participate in this interview. This conversation and your insights as a fellow pre service teacher are truly valuable. Your experiences during your internship or practice teaching will greatly contribute to a deeper understanding of the challenges, learning moments, and realities faced by student teachers like us. I appreciate your willingness to share your story and I'm very grateful for your openness as we begin in this interview. I am Cheska Soromenes.
And same to you as well, Ms. Jimenez. This is such an honor to be part of your interview. And again, I am Mary Ann Joaquin Bitos.
Thank you for joining me today, Miss Bitos. I believe we prepared everything for today's agenda. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, I am ready. Thank you, Sir Jimenez. I'm actually ready whenever you are as well. Thank you.
To start, Miss Bitos, looking back on your practicum, how did your daily teaching routines and school involvement shape your instructional decision and professional growth? And could you also share one specific challenge, how you handled it, and what improved afterward?
Okay. So actually, during my practicum in a public high school back then, my daily routine actually involved a crafting lesson plan, coordinating with school authorities, and also most especially engaging with the students. And this responsibility, I think, shaped the way I planned and delivered the instructions as I realized that they serve as a foundation for ensuring a functional and quality teaching. However, because of the school that has limited resources and frequent schedule changes over time, I learned to prioritize some very flexible activities and simple but effective strategies towards the students. And if I were to cite a specific challenge, I would say that when I encountered a handling a very active grade 8 students during a group task, the room was actually very small. There was no projector. The noise level escalated quickly, and as for me as a practice teaching teacher, to regain control among my students, I shifted to the activity with an interactive storytelling format where each group shaped short scenarios instead of moving around. I also assigned clear roles to each student, wherein this adjustment calmed the class, maintained the participation, and taught me to how modify lessons quickly without sacrificing learning. And yes, over time, as I practice using that method, I improve in classroom management and also with the pacing and designing with activities that actually work even with a limited environment.
Nice, Miss Bito. So you turn a potential disruption into a structured learning moment. That's a very useful strategy of yours. So that example leads nicely into my next question, Miss Bitos, the adaptability. Well, can you describe a time when you had to change a lesson on the spot because of an unexpected problem? What did you change and why?
Yes, actually, one particular experience during my internship that really tested my ability to adapt happened during a lesson where I have planned to use a projector and a TV to support my own discussion. I had to prepare a visual presentation because the topic was easier to understand with the images and the short examples displayed on the screen. However, just a few minutes before the class just started, the TV actually refused to turn on and the projector wouldn't respond either. So we tried checking the cables, plugging and unplugging it, and even calling the school technicians, but still it wouldn't work. So at that point, I knew I couldn't depend on the equipment anymore, so I had to quickly adjust. Since my lesson relied heavily on the visuals, I shifted my strategy to something more interactive and manual. I had to write the key points on the whiteboard and explain them step by step instead of showing them on slides. For example, there were originally in my presentation, so I had to recreate a very simple versions of them on the board and explain the details verbally. And I also asked the students to give their own examples because in that way it will help them maintain their engagement even without the visualizations. To keep the class dynamic, I moved closer to the students and used gestures, storytelling, so they could better imagine what I was trying to portray and to describe. So I noticed that this made the discussion feel more personal and conversational, and also the students participated more than they usually did when the screen was actually involved. And yes, with having that said, I made these adjustments because I didn't want the technical issue to disrupt the learning experiences of my students and also my plan of the lesson. So even without the projector or the TV, it was still important for me to deliver the lesson with quality and also to clearly provide the lesson and keep the students interested as well. And yes, that moment taught me that teachers must actually always be ready with a backup plan and must remain calm when things don't go as expected because sometimes the simplest approach, as we know, teacher-led explanation and student participation turns out to be just as effective as the high-tech ones as well.
Well, you're bringing the lesson into the another level, Miss Bitos. It's a nice move, and I like so much hearing about that. It must have made the topic meal more feel comfortable and real for them. So exactly, thinking more broadly now with my last question, Miss Bitos, how did your internship shape your views about teaching? Did it confirm or challenge what you expected before you entered the classroom?
Um, Yes, actually, my internship reshaped my understanding of teaching, moving me beyond the idealistic view that actually, in preparation alone, that guarantees success. I realized that teaching requires flexibility, empathy, and quick adaptation to students' diverse needs and behaviors as well as emotions. Because classroom management, I learned in just during that time, it is just not about the rules, but it is about the patience and consistency and also building a meaningful relationship with your students and other school staff. And I also gained a deeper appreciation for the emotional, mental, and physical efforts of the teachers that they invest in every class hours, from preparing materials to addressing the students' concern, delivering the lessons. And yes, despite the challenges I have experienced, my internship reaffirmed why I chose this profession of being a teacher in the near future, seeing students grow, asking questions, and finally understood a concept made every effort meaningful. And the experiences revealed the true realities of teaching while strengthening my belief that it is a continuous journey of learning, adapting, inspiring students, and it showed me that teaching is as much as about connecting with learners as it is about delivering the content, and that the impact we make goes far beyond the classroom walls, the four walls that we actually go on inside every 5 days in a week. Yes.
So it made you more practical and relationship focused, Ms. Vitos. And that's surprising, and it's a very honest answer. Thank you so much for that. So before we close, Ms. Vitos, I have one last question for you. This is a bonus question. Well, what's one practical takeaway you'd give to other pre-service teachers like us?
Yes. Based on my experiences, one practical takeaway, I would say two actually, that I would give the pre-service teacher is that to always prepare low-tech alternatives and to focus on building relationships with your student and the staff. Because I believe that these two things will actually help you go through the most expected situations, like what I said earlier during my experience during my time.
Well, that's a great advice, Miss Bitus. Thank you so much. I would also love to have that advice from you. I believe that warps up our today's interview. Gratitude to have you here, Miss Bitus.
To you as well. Thank you, Ms. Jimenez, and have a great day. See you around.